Hiya.
Hello. Welcome to All Saints Family Service.
But also, as you're going to say, it's the holiday club as well. 2 in 1. Amazing.
Amazing. I'm Fliss with an S.
And I'm Flix with an X. And it's okay, everybody. We're in a bubble, so it's all abiding by the rules.
Still.
So what have we got today?
Well, we have got an interruption coming through.
Another one?
Again.
Every single time there's an interruption, isn't there?
There
I cannot
is.
believe it.
And it's the news
Oh, it's the
again.
news. Important stuff then. Okay, it's the news. Let's go there right now.
Hello, and welcome to the Family Service News. I'm Fizzy Rascal.
And I'm Bruce Fluffington Jr., and I second that welcome.
You know, Bruce, it's great to be back, isn't it? Don't you agree?
I do agree. And you know, some people are saying we're back by popular demand.
Some people are saying it's a lack of ideas.
It's probably a little bit of both.
Well, we're continuing with our theme of good news.
That's right, because last time on this very channel, our colleagues spoke about Jesus and how he came to clean our hearts.
And the time before that, we looked at how Jesus has chosen each one of us to be his friends.
But before we get on with today's theme, I'm just itching to hear your good news, viewers.
Well, I'm glad to hear it, Bruce, because our next feature will scratch that metaphorical itch of yours. Our roving reporters from Wick, Littlehampton and Leominster have been combing the local area to bring us your good news.
My good news is I got these flapjacks and they're very yummy. I already eaten some. I think I need to eat one now. Yum.
Hi, my name is George. My blessing is that I was asked to illustrate another children's book. That was great fun. And the story goes that some cows escaped their field and raided the local cake shop. Here's some of the illustrations. Mollie wasn't too happy about that either. And the boys who were looking after the cows had to go and get the help of the Scarecrow gang. They rounded them up successfully in the end. Anyway, that was my blessing. I enjoyed doing it. See you soon. Bye.
My good news is my wax finally came through the post. Finally.
Hello, I'm Jeanette and I've got some good news for you. I have been doing some crocheting. So I have got all this wool, 9 colours to be precise, and I have been making these tiny little squares. They're very quick to do the actual squares, but making it into something like this takes quite a long time. However, as you can see, I've now got lots of these squares, and now I'm at that point where I can sew them all together, and then eventually I will have a lovely blanket. And I'm really pleased because it's coming together nicely and it's beginning to look a little bit more like a blanket. So that's great. Have a great time at Holiday Club.
Wow, wasn't that amazing, Bruce?
Yes, Fizzy. It's so refreshing to hear some genuine good news. It makes such a difference.
Actually, talking about difference, there's something different about you today, Bruce.
I'm glad you noticed.
Is it around this area somewhere?
Oh, well spotted. You see, boys and girls, on this occasion, I've actually brushed my teeth.
You mean you didn't brush your teeth last time, Bruce?
Correct. But today, they're nice and shiny. See?
Musty.
But talking of teeth, you know what I like to do with mine whenever I hear a good news?
No, tell me, Bruce.
I like to move them gnashes around, and I emit various rhythmic sounds through them to create an uplifting modulation of different frequencies and tones.
Do you mean you like to sing, Bruce?
Oh, that's exactly what I meant.
Well, that's quite a coincidence, because our next section is a song.
Oh, that is wonderful. What a coincidence.
We're just waiting for you to stop modulating and emitting different frequencies, and we'll get on with it, Bruce.
I do apologise. Consider it zipped.
Here's Peter, Jackie and Mollie showing us how to dance and sing to Our God is a Great Big God. Get up out of your seats and join in with the movements.
Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God, and He holds us in His hands. Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God, and He holds us in His hands. He's higher than a skyscraper. He's deeper than a submarine. He's wider than the universe and beyond my wildest dreams. He's known me and He's loved me since before the world began. How wonderful to be a part of God's amazing plans. Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God, and He holds us in His hands. Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God, and He holds us in His hands. He's higher than a skyscraper. He's deeper than a submarine. He's wider than the universe and beyond my wildest dreams. He's known me and He's loved me since before the world began. How wonderful to be a part of God's amazing plans. Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God, and He holds us in His hands. And He holds us in His hands. And He holds us in His hands.
Fantastic. Well, I'm quite exhausted after all that singing and exuberance, Fizzy.
Yes, I can tell, Bruce, but now you can calm down as we're about to look at a story from the Bible.
Oh, that's right, viewers. Today's good news theme is that Jesus cares for you. And we have some exclusive footage from 2,000 years ago of Jesus performing a miracle.
The location is Capernaum in Israel, so sit back and watch as we continue our theme of good news.
Here we are in Capernaum, in Galilee, located in what we know today as Israel. You can read this story in Mark chapter 3, verses 1 to 6, or Matthew chapter 12, and also in Luke chapter 6. Jesus was very popular with lots of people, but there were others who didn't like His message of good news and didn't believe He was God's Son. Some of these people were the religious leaders called Pharisees. One day, Jesus met a man who had a withered hand. Jesus wanted to heal him, but it was the Sabbath day. This was the day of the week on which the Jews rested and did no work of any sort, and they considered healing a type of work. So Jesus asked the Pharisees, "Is the Sabbath a day for doing good or doing bad? Is the Sabbath a day to save life or destroy it?" "Well, it's a, They didn't know what to say. So Jesus turned to the man and said, reach out your hand. He held out his hand, and it was healed. Wow, amazing. The crowd went wild. But Jesus' enemies started to plan how they could get rid of him.
Wow, that's quite a story.
Yes, and did you know that in the Gospels,
Matthew, Mark, Luke and John, which can be found in the New Testament.
yes, there are many stories that tell us how much Jesus cares for people through healing them, accepting them, loving them, and sometimes even challenging them.
Oh, you know, Fizzy, this all sounds excellent, but I'm just itching to know more about this subject.
You certainly are itchy today, Bruce.
It's probably of this moustache. But point taken. Now, if only we had someone who could explain and unpack this story a little bit more. That's what I'm thinking.
Well, would you believe it, Bruce? We have exactly that right now.
Really?
Really? So point your ears and brains this way, viewers, because the wonderful Reverend Vanessa Barron is going to share her thoughts with us right now.
Hello everyone, I'm Vanessa. If you don't know me, I'm the vicar up the road at Lyminster. It's great to be here, and thank you to Fliss and to Flick for telling us that story about Jesus in the synagogue meeting the man with the withered arm, or as I like to think of him, a disabled man. So what I'm going to do is think about the story a little bit. And the first thing I realised when I read the story was that when he went into the synagogue, Jesus noticed all of the people. He saw a group of unfriendly people standing to one side, and then he spotted the disabled man, the man with the withered arm, over on the other side. I fell to wondering what had happened to that man, why his arm was sort of shriveled. Maybe he was born like that. Mark doesn't tell us. Maybe he'd had an accident. Maybe he'd had a stroke and all his muscles had stopped working and his hand had sort of clenched. He couldn't use it any longer. Whatever the reason, he was disabled, and Jesus noticed. But Jesus didn't just notice the groups of people in the synagogue. He seems to have understood them as well. He understood that that unfriendly group over there were trying to trap him, and he understood what the disabled man was feeling as well. Maybe that man couldn't work because of his disabled hand. Maybe he couldn't get dressed in the morning. We all know how difficult it is to try and get dressed if one of our hands isn't working. It's almost impossible. We need someone to help us. So Jesus came into the synagogue and he noticed people and he understood them. But more than that, he cared. Because I don't know about you, sometimes I walk into a room and I can see people. I might even, from their sort of general appearance, be able to understand a little bit about them. But I don't always care. But Jesus cared and he wanted to do something. So in that story, if you think back, what did he do? Well, he began by asking that hostile, difficult group a really tricky question. He said to them, "What does God's law say? What should I do on God's special day? Should I do good or should I do harm?" Now, what do you think the answer is? I suspect you know instantly. It's obvious, isn't it? God's law is going to say that you should do good on the Sabbath, on God's special day, not do harm. So Jesus begins by asking the difficult group a really tricky question. And then he turns to the disabled man and he gives him an invitation. He says to him, "Come over here. Come on, come here. Come stand by me." He invites the disabled man to come close to him. And then he goes on and he heals his hand. He makes it better. So what can we take away from this story? Well, I think there are quite a few things. What we can learn is, above all else, that whoever we are, wherever we are, and whatever has happened to us, whether we're feeling happy, whether we're feeling sad, Jesus sees, and he understands, and he cares, and he's able to help. So maybe you're not feeling great at the moment because somebody in your family isn't very well. Jesus sees that, and he understands, and he cares. Maybe you're feeling a bit lonely. Maybe you're feeling anxious. It's not easy at the moment, is it? Not being at school, trying to homeschool. I know everybody's just had half term, but it's still not straightforward. We haven't seen people like our grandparents for ages in many cases. If we're lonely, if we're anxious, if we're being bullied, or if we've got other sorts of worries, Jesus sees and he understands. Maybe you've had a really, really good week. Maybe it's been an absolutely tremendous one. You've been able to sort of go out and have some fun outside. You've done some really fun, creative things. In which case Jesus can see that and understands that as well. He understands that you're happy and he's pleased for you. So whoever we are, whatever we're like, whatever happens to us, Jesus sees, he understands, and he cares. And what can he do for us? Well, he does for us exactly what he did for the disabled man. First and foremost, he gives us an invitation. He says, come here, come close to me. Well, obviously Jesus isn't here in person now. Quite sad in one respect. But we can still draw close to him by talking to him in prayer and remembering what he said to us. And Christians down the centuries have always said that when they've prayed, Jesus has heard, has understood, and they've felt that he's been very close when they've prayed. We can tell him anything. We can tell him when we're disappointed. We can tell him when we're happy. We can tell him about how difficult life is. And what does he do? Well, sometimes he can help directly or through other people. But very often what he does is send his Holy Spirit, who strengthens us and gives us the ability to be able to keep going. The Holy Spirit, as it were, puts energy in us, makes things possible for us. So, from this wonderful story from Mark chapter 3 of Jesus in the synagogue, seeing that disabled man and healing him, we can take for ourselves that Jesus sees, he understands, he cares, and he's there to help.
Thank you, Vanessa. That was excellent.
Yes, thank you, Vanessa, for explaining how Jesus cares for us.
You know, Bruce, this reminds me of another passage from the Bible.
Does it, Fizzy? Does it?
It does.
Oh.
It's from the book in the New Testament called 1 Peter, and it says, give all of your worries to Jesus because he cares for you.
Wow, now you're making this personal, Fizzy.
Well, it's very important for our viewers to understand that this is the good news.
You mean in the same way that Jesus cared for those people all those years ago, he still cares for us today?
Exactly. Give all of your worries to Jesus because he cares for you. 1 Peter 5:7.
This memory verse would be helpful to remember. But how can we assist our viewers in retaining this vital information?
Well, I'm glad you asked, Bruce, because this leads nicely into our next section, which is when we go live across to our arts and crafts correspondent, who is waiting to show us a creative way of remembering today's message and also of ways to pray.
Let's go there now.
Hello, I'm Fliss. I'm the Arts and Crafts correspondent for the Family Service News, and wasn't that another amazing story about Jesus caring for us, how much he cares for us, and healing that man's hand? So, we're going to do a craft that reminds us of that and of all the things that we can be thankful for. So, to do that, you're going to need these things. The first thing you need to do is find out who in your house has got the biggest hand. Because the bigger the hand, the more space we've got. So go round and check who's got the biggest hand. And once you have, you need to draw around that hand. Now, I'm going to draw around my own because mine's the biggest hand here. But yours might be a grown-up's. It might be yours. Put their hand on there and just draw around it. It might be a bit tickly for them. So you should have a hand drawn on there. And all we're going to do is cut round it. Now you might need to ask a grown-up's help to use scissors. It's quite tricky round the fingers. Once we've cut round it, we're going to decorate one side with all the things that we love and that we're thankful for that God has given us. It can be anything, and you can make it as beautiful as you like. It could be food, it could be flowers, it could be your favourite football team, whatever it is that you're thankful for and you want to pray thank you to God for. And mine's going to be sped up, but you're going to have time after the service to decorate yours at home and spend lots and lots of time thinking about it and making it beautiful. So, I finished mine. Now, I could keep adding more things, but as you can see, I've got all sorts of things on there. I wonder how yours will look when you've done it. We'd love to see the pictures. So once you've done that, we're going to turn it over, and on the palm of the hand, we're going to write the memory verse that we've learned today. Do you remember what it is? It is, give all your worries to Jesus, because he cares for you. And that was 1 Peter 5 verse 7. So there you go. I've put mine on like that. Yours might be neater than mine. So in a little while, Sarah's going to help you think of some things that you can put on each of these fingers. Bye!
Well, welcome back, everybody. And what a time it's been, huh, Fizzy?
Yes, we've heard good news from the local area.
We've sung a song, and we've seen Jesus heal a man's hand.
And we've also learnt to make a decorative hand to pray with.
And do you recall, we've also learnt a memory verse. Give all of your worries to Jesus because he cares for you.
Yes, 1 Peter 5 7.
Well, viewers, I think that's all we've got time for today.
You've been watching the Family Service News.
And it's goodbye from me, Bruce Fluffington Jr.
And a farewell from me, a Fizzy Rascal.
Goodbye.
Farewell. A goodbye.
Farewell. See ya! We're back. What a news report that was.
It certainly was. So much good news.
And I really enjoyed looking at that man's moustache. Incredible, isn't it? What a guy.
He could grow it so quickly. Just 3 days of growth.
Yes. You tell me.
So, we have absolutely loved having fun with you all. Everyone that's been to Holiday Club, it's been amazing.
Yeah.
And we've loved seeing all of your crafts, which will come up again at the end of this.
Keep watching after this. Keep watching.
And for those of you that are watching live, you've got a little bit of time now to go away and make your prayer hands.
Wonderful.
And then bring that back and show us when we meet on the Zoom. And we've also got a game we're going to play, Flicks.
Oh, yes. So, we've got time. We're going to play a little game. So, find something around the house that will fit in the palm of your hand, which you can then hide with your fist, like so. So find something, and we'll also do that part on the Zoom in a bit. And if you haven't got the details for the Zoom, there should be some information here which will help you find those details.
So it's been brilliant to be with you.
Yeah.
And enjoy watching all of your crafts. Bye!
Bye!